All right, welcome to my portfolio presentation for Linux administration. A little bit about me. I am a chef. I've been working in the restaurant industry for over a decade. In the past couple of years, I've been here at Northern Essex working towards a degree in network security. Um, I started out on this journey after learning about Bitcoin, and I needed to learn all about the technical side of it and how it worked and how the network worked. And I ended up learning a lot about computers in the meantime and discovered that I have an aptitude towards working with them. And here we are 2 years later, and I'm able to configure and deploy Linux servers from the command line only. And I think that's a really impressive skill to have. And I feel like I've come a really long way from when I walked in the door a couple of years ago, having no very limited technical knowledge. I had done no programming before or anything crazy, just some configuration changes and tricky installs. But I've learned a lot of great things over the past couple of years. Here's a short summary of some of them. This portfolio presentation will focus mostly on the things that I learned in Linux administration. A mistake that I had made in the midterm presentation was including too many things about either other classes or other extracurricular projects I was working on as if it was kind of tailored towards a potential employer, but I'll keep it more relevant here. One of the first things we did in the semester was the CLI, or command line interface installs of our two servers that we worked on for the semester. This was really challenging, and I think I made a really easy to follow technical document for this that I would feel comfortable giving to friends or a potential employer to try and explain to somebody how to install this and what you need to know, kind of condensed down to a more digestible format. And if I understand correctly, this is a pretty common task that a sysadmin would deal with out in the real world is user education. Maybe not how to install a command line only interface, but training non-technical staff within the company to do technical things. So this is a really important skill to build on, and I certainly had plenty of opportunities to do that in this class. One of the other scripts I'm really proud of is my user management script. It takes a text or a CSV file as input, a list of names, and from that can build a network of, or I guess not a network, create users within the system with varying permissions and shells, environments, skeleton directories, and privileges. I want to continue to keep working on this script even after the end of the semester because I think this is a really realistic situation that I could have to deal with down the road, and I'd like to have this sitting on my GitHub if I get hired by a company and I need to do a very similar task, because I'd be proud taking this to an employer saying this is my work. Some command line utilities that I worked with this semester as well were awk, sed, and grep. These are some really powerful utilities to search, edit, and perform some computation on data right from the command line. Linux is just an amazing system, the whole directory structure, and just how few keystrokes you're able to make such enormous changes on computers using regular expressions. It's amazing to be able to sift through data that quickly, and this is something that's absolutely necessary at large companies with large databases of customers and employees and all sorts of things like that. You'll need to go through and format that information into whatever the company might need. My networking script was also pretty helpful, running some Nmap scans and just some basic network info output to a log file. This is just a good thing to have on hand for consistency if you see, ports open up that shouldn't be, or perhaps your domain name server config file was edited. My security script was also really useful. This monitors suspicious SSH activity in logs in both Ubuntu and CentOS. It monitors those logs for that activity, and then it also backs them up and runs them through a hash function to protect their integrity. So it's kind of like a double fail-safe, because some malicious programs can go right for the logs trying to clean up their tracks. Again, this is meant to be run as a cron job like most of these other scripts, so that you can have it running continuously and not even have to think about it. Next script I worked on was a server health script. This should also be run as a cron job, and this just creates a log file with some pretty useful information about the hardware, particularly the CPU, memory, processes, and the actual uptime of the server, as well as what users are logged into it. This is another tool in the sysadmin's tool belt, and just keeping logs of everything, keeping data, but again, going over that data so that you can look for anomalies in it and strange patterns that would concern a sysadmin of either problems that have already happened or problems that are potentially going to happen. And one of the final labs I worked on for the semester was the Splunk certificate. This was really cool because these were some pretty lifelike simulations, the issues that we dealt with in this module. It's a real life enterprise grade software that we were sifting through pretty realistic data and creating very realistic reports. And it was just kind of nice to be able to see what you might be doing in an actual job as a sysadmin or working in networking. These are the tools you'll be working with, and this is what you're going to spend your day doing. It's fun learning the different languages of databases. I found this really similar to SQL, but this is a great thing to put on my resume and LinkedIn as well, because it says that I have some hands-on experience with a particular enterprise grade software, and that I was able to complete that. And hopefully that at least gets employers' attention, maybe gets your foot in the door. But I know the fundamentals part 2 was a $2,000 software, so that's got to be worth something to employers. And I will continue to work on that for the rest of the 30 days that I have it. The key takeaways from this semester were obviously learning to install and deploy server instances and a variety of Linux distros. I learned the ins and outs or I got a small glimpse of being a sysadmin, starting a server from the ground up, maintaining that server, configuring the network, the different programs that it'll run on, the security, other permissions, just basic user management. It was really nice to be able to take responsibility for a whole server in a simulation and just kind of see what it's like, and see what kind of problems you're going to run into as a sysadmin, because I wouldn't really know without getting my feet wet into it. I found out how difficult regex is. I really got hung up on that this semester. I'd say that was one of the most difficult things that I encountered this semester, because it's like learning a whole different language. But once you start to get it under your belt and start to get a hang of it, it's an incredibly powerful tool. I'd say the moment I was most proud of was actually making it towards the end of the semester. I've been really struggling this semester with time management, with managing a full-time job as a sous chef at a busy restaurant, and three very demanding classes in um, it's getting harder as I go on. I'm almost done with my program here, and I'm happy about that though because I'm learning a lot. I learned a lot about um, network administration in general, but particularly in Linux this semester. One thing I would improve if I could do this all over again was just start earlier, I guess. The end of the semester really snuck up on me, and I had a bunch of things I wanted to do, like put the portfolio on my website, but I figured I would do that separately because I'd like to make it a little more professional, not just focused on Linux admin stuff. I want to be able to include my own things in there. So I'll save that for another time, but just time management and spending more time on the labs. I didn't get to all the labs I wanted to. I really wanted to do the containers one because I have had a little experience with Docker in the past and wanted to continue to work with it. And I think I will go and try and do that on my own after the semester. But yes, I would just manage time better. One thing from the term you could see yourself using in a job in the future, I think I'd use just about everything I learned this semester in a real job, but I'd have to say the user management is probably the most realistic scenario. I can't think of a company that wouldn't have need for what my script produces. Um, and like I said, I'd be happy to show that to any employer, especially if they're looking to start from the ground up, like a startup. I did improve on the things I set out to improve since the midterm. I wanted to work on scripting and the detail of my technical documentation, and they got longer as the semester went on. Um, and I just got to know my audience a little better after getting some feedback from people and seeing, what they noticed that I might not have. So I also showed it to some non-technical friends, and they didn't quite understand all of it, but that was helpful to see things from their perspective as well. That's it for my presentation. This is some of the most important stuff I've learned in Linux administration. I hope you guys all had a great semester. Thank you for sitting through my video. And if you want to stay in touch at the end of the semester or sometime when we're out in the professional field, here's my contact info, my email, LinkedIn, GitHub, and my website. Thanks for watching.